What's going on, everybody? I'm Kevin from Cigar Prop, and what you're about to watch is called Replay, presented by Corona Cigar. Basically, we take one of our interviews that we did with somebody else live, and we cut everything out except for just the interview portion, questions and answers. We take everything else out, condense it into a shorter format, and we present it to you, Corona Cigar Live. So the intro may not make sense, the outro may not make sense, or it may just be cut short. So if it looks a little weird, it's because we just wanted to bring you what you're here for, the interview portion only. So sit back, relax, grab a cigar, and enjoy the show. All right, so waiting patiently in the Experience Acid Green Room is Desiree Sylver of Drunk Chicken Cigars. Desiree, welcome to the show.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Oh, wait
Welcome.
a minute. Coming live from Brandywine, Maryland. Woo, woo, woo.
You know, it was Jessica had asked me last night, like where you're located, and it took me a second. I'm like, what is the and it had such a unique name. I go, Brandywine. I never remember where anybody is from, but that is such a unique name, Brandywine, Maryland.
Yeah, we're drunks here. We like brandy and wine.
Yeah. You couldn't decide. Like, can we name them both? Someone's like, yeah, I guess. You know, so Maryland. So, yeah, you're on the. Yeah, I'm thinking like, what
you know where Maryland is, Kev?
Yeah, everybody knows, and make fun of me because I don't know where anything's at in the world. So I'm thinking because it's looking a little dark where you're at, but I'm like, where is it? I'm like, oh yeah, they're on the East Coast too. I'm horrible. I am horrible with everything.
Don't worry. I say I'm geographically challenged, so we're in the same boat.
Yes, thank you.
I don't want to be in that boat then.
As long as Desiree, we're not captaining that boat. Is that what you're doing nowadays? I'm like this, like, yeah, we're not captaining the boat. I don't even know if that's the
We'll carry us all up to you to get us there safely.
Listen, I'm a human GPS. I will definitely guide you to safe shore.
Yeah,
and then tell Kevin we're somewhere where you don't know where it is, but it'll be okay.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll jump right into it. If people aren't familiar with Drunk Chicken Cigars, it's definitely you caught my radar this year. It seems like all over social media, Drunk Chicken Cigars, because it's a funny logo. It's a funny band, and so you've obviously nailed the band part of it because Care knows that the band drives boutique cigar makers absolutely insane. But so you've had an interesting life, and we definitely want to talk about your life a little bit leading up to how it got to you where you are today. You have a little history for everybody. You have a BS from Bowie State, an MS from University of Maryland, a PhD from North Central University. You've been an adjunct professor at two different colleges, from what I found. You were a contracting officer division chief of the U.S. Coast Guard, and you are currently a senior procurement analyst for NASA. And now here you are with that prestigious background talking about your company, Drunk Chicken Cigars.
Wow.
Zowie.
You found everything.
Desiree, in short, it means when you're in a room, you are probably most likely the smartest person in the room.
Unless you're asking me where to look at something.
Yeah. But the info I couldn't find on you, even watching a couple interviews, kind of reading some stuff, during that whole time period, I've never heard you talk. Where did cigars come in? Were you a father, uncle, grandfather, boyfriend? Where did cigars come into your life? Around what age?
Oh wow. Probably I'm about 50 now, about 30-ish. My ex-husband was in the Navy, and we traveled a lot. And you go to the different naval bases and the lounges in the area. He would pick up some cigars. I would smoke whatever he gave me. I never was a cigar aficionado that I could tell you a name. He would go to the humidor, pick out some cigars, hand them to me. I would smoke whatever he gave me. It wasn't till about 7 years ago where we ended up divorced. The kids are going to his house for the weekend. I'm home alone going, what do I do? And so I said, oh, we used to go to cigar lounges together. I went to a cigar lounge. So that's what I did. But when I went in there, it was the first time I went into a humidor. And I'm a real OCD nerd. And when I went in there, the humidor manager I didn't even know there was so many cigars in life. I was like amazed. What is all this? And so he's telling me about the binder, wrapper, filler, and I had no clue. So I went home and I grabbed a few cigars, things that I kind of thought I recognized from what I smoked before. Went home and I started a spreadsheet of binder, wrapper, filler. I started looking them up and smoking them and going, okay. And I was like so into cigars. I would go back to the lounge and grab 10 more, come back, smoke them, and go back and grab 10 more until I had this database of wrapper, binder, fillers. And as I was smoking them, I would rate them of some sort. Most of them. Sometimes I would forget I was enjoying myself too much. But then I could sort my spreadsheet and see what wrapper, binder, filler I like the most.
Desiree, you need to get together with my buddy Daryl Iverson.
Yeah,
he does the same thing. He's a spreadsheet guy.
Yeah, lit cigar experience on
Hey, Daryl.
Instagram. But yeah, and that's one thing that I try and tell everybody. Everybody always asks me what cigars I should smoke, and I tell them to keep a journal, and then somehow rate them, and then when you get the journal filled or halfway filled, if you take it to a good tobacconist and like, can you look at my journal? If you're not, if you don't know how to do that, and then they'll be able to pick out, like what you said. Oh, hey, you have. You really seem to like Dominican filler, or you really, really like Mexican San Andreas, because I can see all by your notes. So,
yep, I lean towards Habanos. I mean, almost everyone, not all of them, but Habanos. I saw a lot of that. Some Mexican San Andreas in there. I wasn't really a sweet cigar person because I always felt like it was so overpowering of the cigar itself.
Yeah.
So I didn't rate very many of those that I liked. But I loved, so when I started to make cigars, and they never were to be made to sell, I was just making based off what I like to smoke, what I found that I like to smoke. So, and then what I was eating with it, or what I want to drink with it. So the cigars that we have today are based off of what I like to drink with, and pair with my cigars. That's how it started.
And that's the way it should be. I know Care, you blend to your palate.
Somewhat, yeah. I mean, I think in Desiree's situation, when you're plotting that much of your when you're plotting, all of the different flavor profiles of the wrapper, binder, filler, and you want to create a cigar based off of your palate, I mean, that's spectacular. I know the first couple of blends I did the same thing, and then there's one blend that I just was like, I think this would be kind of fun to try.
Yeah, and it's got to be, sometimes, that probably doesn't always work out. You're like, okay, I like all of these 5 things. Can you put them into a cigar? And then you light it and you're like, okay, one of these things is horrible inside this, Yeah.
You're absolutely right, because it took several months and several adjustments to cigars to come up with the 5 blends that we have here. And sometimes something would overpower something else, and I go, oh, what did we add? Because this is like way on the wrong side. It's going the wrong direction here.
Oh yeah, and then what did you add? Like one leaf too much? Maybe it was the proper structure, but and then you get into like Carol, and they're like a half a leaf here or a full leaf here, or just positioning this leaf. It has to be absolutely mind blowing. So, yeah. How did you find? Because your website says all your cigars are made here in the USA.
They are.
So I'm assuming Florida. Somewhere we definitely won't go any further on that. But and a lot of people don't know like what Desiree started off doing. Like everybody can do that. Like if you go to some of these these smaller factories, even not even like smaller factories, you can go to El Titan de Bronze down in Miami and then see Sandy, and you'd be like, hey, I want my own cigars at a little bit better price. I'd like 1,000 of them. They'll roll you your own cigars. Desiree just took it one step further and started selling them all. Like I always joke with Carrie about you smoke so much of your own, your own supply. Then you got to start selling them to get some of that money back. But
yeah, Kevin starts counting cigar bands. Yeah. You know how much money that is?
Yeah.
How did you find your factory? Was it word of mouth? Were you interested or?
Not interested or anything. Like I said, I travel a lot. I had a boyfriend, now fiance at the time. We would travel everywhere together. Before COVID, we were traveling 2 to 3 times a month. And we were in Florida, and we joked a lot because he smoked cigars. I smoked cigars. I was smoking 2 or 3 a day. He was smoking 2 or 3, sometimes 4 a day. So we would joke all the time. One of us has to quit smoking because this is getting a very expensive habit. So when we walked into this, the manufacturer that we work with now, the experienced manufacturer that we're working with now, they were, we almost like instantly clicked, and we were talking about cigars, and the guy was just like, when I was telling him, well, I like Habanos, and I would like this feel, I was just like so detailed about what I want, and he just looked at me like, okay, what do you know about cigars? And so he rolled me some cigars, rolled both of us some cigars, based off what we told him. And we smoked a couple there. We went to a hotel, smoked some there. I went back the next day. I was like, what if I bought 200 of these? Could you give me better pricing? And he said, yeah, absolutely. I said, okay, well, I'm going to go home and I'm going to come up with some blends and we'll work together and I'll get 200. Well, I got home and smoked a few more, and I promised him 500. And I said, here, take my money now, and I want 500 cigars. So he says, really? I said, yeah. I'm coming up with some blends. It was never thought about 5 blends. I didn't know if I was going to get one blend with 500 cigars. I didn't know at the time. I just promised I was going to buy 500 cigars. And so when I was working with him, going back and forth, he would send me cigars. I would tell him what I liked, didn't like, what I wanted to tweak. I kept a journal at that time. I don't know why I didn't keep a spreadsheet, but I had this journal that I worked in, and I would always write down the notes that I think I smoked in that. And I say I think because I always come up with notes, and then Rico, my fiance, he would come up with notes. Sometimes they were similar, sometimes they weren't. And we came up with, I think, 3 of them right off the bat. And then the manufacturer said, you should try something sweet. And I was like, oh no, I hate sweet. He said, just a sweet tip. So I said, okay, you know what? I'm up for an adventure. Send me some. That's how we did start with the limited dream, Sweet Dreams. I liked it, but I told him it was too sweet and I wanted a little bit stronger. It was too mild. So we tweaked the blend. We came up with the Sweet Dreams. And the Living a Dream was the last one because I wanted something that was smooth, light, and that I could smoke anytime. But each one, as we were smoking them, had like a different purpose. The DCO was full body. That Mexican San Andreas was like awesome. That oiliness of the leaf, and love drinking it with my whiskey and bourbon. The Mother Clucker has that spice to it, and I love drinking that with my red wine. And the hay and the spice brings out the sweetness of my red wines, to me anyway. The Fat Hen started off with the Shorty Nub, and that was my at work lunch cigar. And the Living a Dream, I just pick up anytime, smoke it, and wouldn't like have my head swimming or at all. I knew that it was a light, easy cigar, although it is a medium in strength. But it is a slight, smooth cigar. And then the Sweet Dreams, I started falling in love with it when I started drinking coffee, that cocoa and vanilla. So each one was made for a very specific pairing or time of day on how we like to smoke.
Now,
That's awesome.
did Rico ever give you like some note like, hey, I think you should do this? You'd be like, shut up, these are my cigars. And because that's what Jessica would never, that's the way she'd be like, shut up, these are my cigars.
The DCO was definitely his cigar. I was not loving it at first, but I was like, okay, this is going to be your cigar. So he wanted it strong and really full, and the stronger cigars at the time really made my head swim. So I was like, okay, I'll smoke on a few of puffs on it while I'm doing at home. Would never smoke them out in public because my head was like, I would get lightheaded. So I was like, let me sit down in the corner and be quiet, let him do this blend. Now, I knew when I smoked it, it was a good cigar, but it just was a little bit too strong for me, my palate. At the time, I have grown into it because I've been smoking so many of them now. The Sweet Dreams, he was like, whatever you want, baby, because I am not smoking that. And the other three, we basically kind of did together for the most part. Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with a sweet cigar. Like Care, you enjoy a sweet cigar.
Every once in a while, definitely. Yeah. So Jess, that's 1 out of 5. He had the direct input. The other ones were just influences.
Yeah.
So Desiree, when you're going through this whole process of blending these cigars, and obviously ordering them and thinking, we're spending way too much money on cigars, we're going to have our own. At what point does it dawn on you of saying, hey, I think we could actually start selling these to other people? Other people will enjoy our adventure.
It was not us that said, let's do this. It was our friends. We would have outdoor people come over. We would smoke at the Drunk Chicken. That's where we are right now, at the Drunk Chicken. If it was more light outside, actually, I might walk over there in a few so you can see the Drunk Chicken. But other people used to tell us and I say the Drunk Chicken because the backyard is named the Drunk Chicken because we have chickens here. And our friends would say, oh, you really should sell these cigars. They're great cigars. Because we would just say, hey, grab a cigar, have a smoke, have a drink. Or we would go to a lounge, meet people there. And what are you smoking? Oh, one of our cigars. Here, have one. Oh, you really should sell them. And so at that point, we just started going, we should look into this. Mm-hmm. So we approached a couple lounges, one in Alabama. I was there on travel and from my 9 to 5, and one here in our area, and they both told us they smoked different cigars, but they both told us that they loved the cigar and they would sell it there if we changed the band.
What was the band originally? Would you I didn't know you had a different band.
Yeah, they were paper bands, and like I said, it was just for us, so just so we could identify them. They started off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the band. Then we started putting pictures of the cigar, the chickens on it. When people, we said we're going to name it the Drunk Chicken. It was still a paper band with chickens on them. But mostly for the most part, the same kind of concept, but we upgraded the bands.
Okay.
Is that when the names came about as well, or have you, when you were sitting with your friends and you already had them develop, the names were already you've already given the cigars names?
The names started to come with the bands for the most part.
Okay.
Yeah. Living the dream and sweet dreams, they were the first because we're like, we're living the dream. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm having sweet dreams. So it was kind of a joke. But yeah, those were named the first. And then the other ones kind of came as we went by. So
we're starting a cigar company. We're going to be rich. That's what
No.
everybody said. No, yeah.
Said no one ever.
Said no one ever. Except
I'm
all
so poor.
except all your friends. Man, you must be rich. No, these weren't free. So,
Yeah.
Oh my. Now, how had you delved into graphic design before? How hard was the band? Even finding bands, did you know where to start? Did the the lounge help you out? Because that's a nice. That's everybody's bane is bands.
Oh, I hate the bands. I probably would have started earlier if it wasn't for the bands. But the lounges have been so helpful in getting me started. They directed me to a band company, the Cigar Room in Madison, Alabama. Don there, the owner, he had his own cigars that he has house cigars, and he has bands made. And he said, "Here's my band company." And a couple other people lounge gave me the same band company, and I Googled, and the same band company kept coming up, so I went with them. But when you get bands, you have to get in the line with everybody else. It's a process.
Yeah, and then especially when you're ordering, I know Care has that too. If you're not ordering, 30,000, 40,000, you're definitely not the priority at all.
Well, I'm up to 40,000 now, so.
So you're getting it. Those are some good. Those are good minimums. They're taking you seriously now.
Yeah.
So
finally.
Yeah. I went kicking and screaming with the bands because I started off with cedar sleeves because I liked the cedar sleeve, and it was protecting. I felt the protective of the cigar itself, of it being a barber pole. But then I realized I have to move forward with a band. Too much feedback from folks. You have to go.
Yeah, that was the number one thing, is the bands. That's all I kept hearing. Cigar's good, but you have to change the bands. People buy with their eyes first. Ooh, what's that? And then they go try it out.
Yep.
Yeah, that reminds me, like I said, and I've told the story before, like one of the first times I'd walked into a lounge and it just being overwhelmed at all the different cigars and talking with the tobacconist. He's like, people eat with their eyes before they, eat with their mouth. Same thing with cigars. People smoke with their eyes before they smoke with their mouths, and just talking about bands, and bands are real important. You got to have that eye catching, that popping, and then you got to have a couple of facings as well. If you just have one box there, gets just lost in the mix.
I learned about facings as well, and the number of facings, and I've had a education in cigar wholesaling in cigar. So it's been a ride.
Yeah. Now the one thing I noticed on your boxes, are you using like those old school cardboard boxes? Karen and I we had this conversation. We didn't even know if they still make. We love those. I love those old school. They have such a classic look to them. So are those being made here in Florida still, or? Okay.
Yeah, I get mine specially made just for my cigars.
Okay. Yeah, we were just wondering because we were like, man, like nobody's doing that. So we were like, is that something they even?
We had a whole conversation on the Bully Show about the cardboard boxes.
The whole conversation. So.
Boxes are so expensive as well. I mean, and again, because I'm getting my cigars made in the U.S., I'm not getting my sticks for $1 a stick and $2. Yeah. So to stay competitive, I had to figure out what's the most important thing. And for me, the boxes weren't the most important thing. Yes, I needed to, the bands, I need to grab people's attention. I understood that. So I prioritized, and I looked at so many different things on that. So.
Yeah, it's just a vessel to hold, Now, I mean, a really nice cigar box is nice. People want to collect those and hold on to them. But like you said, you have to weigh the cost of, I mean, you look at, Steve Saka, Dunbarton, his last year's limited release he does. Each cigar was in its own coffin seven coffins in a box. And I told Steve, I'm like, it's like $3 extra per cigar.
Yeah.
I'm like, you got me. You know, it's like 18. Now it's like $18. You know, $19, $20 for a cigar.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, people love those boxes though.
Well, maybe I'll graduate to that.
No.
I'll tell you what, if it's working, those old and all our conversation about those
Yeah.
old cardboard boxes, because I have some antique older boxes, and there's just something about the style of that box. It's just so it kind of it's a throwback. It's an homage to the original cigars, to the throwback. It really is.
Yeah, and then what some people do, which I've got one right here.
Carrie, I'm gonna start using that. It's a throwback.
Steal shamelessly, please.
Yes.
So when you have a really good like the old boxes, people will throw the boxes away. A good friend of mine, Bill Ragone, said this is an old Judge Wright, a J.C. Newman blend, but they rip the tops off.
Yep.
You know, so you have something cool to hang on your wall in your man cave. Or lady cave, person cave, and it's 2021. I don't want to assume anybody. Yeah. And she said, he shed, your shed, we shed. I don't know anymore.
Jess is taking over for the second part of the show.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I love these old cardboard boxes. I hope they make a comeback. And you know, like I said, because you know, probably twice a year I end up throwing away 50 or 60 really nice boxes. We hang on to them because it seems like such a waste, and then you get overgrown with them. You know,
a lot of wood.
It is
a lot of wood. I mean, it really is. And Kevin and Desiree, I went from 10 count boxes to 20 count boxes just to conserve shelf space. Like you said, it's a learning experience, right? When you're starting out, it's a pretty painful process. But yeah, I love those old boxes, those old cardboard boxes. There's something about it that just kind of catches on and just grabs you and gets your attention.
Like you, I started off with 20. I'm still at 20 count boxes, but I started off with the larger boxes, 2 rows. Now I'm at 4 rows. Shelf. I'm learning that shelf space is a premium, and when they say I don't have shelf space, oh, no worries, mine will fit right there.
That's it, you know, and that's why I think some of the manufacturers come out with like the crates, you know, that hold like 150 cigars, you know, and then talking about like say your site, because you had mentioned that you like the Fat Hen for lunch. That's a 4x60. You smoke that for lunch?
Well, yeah. I'm actually doing the Fat Hen right now.
Oh, okay.
Wait a minute. I'm doing that right now, and I'm doing the 6x60 of that one.
Okay. Because you've got some unique sizes. You know, you've got a Gordo, a Lonsdale, a Lancero, a box pressed Robusto, a 4x60 Shorty Torpedo, which I don't even know how many people in the industry have that. You might be the only one, as far as I know. That's a short, fat cigar to be a torpedo. Where did the sizes, because you know you had your spreadsheet on your wrapper binder filler that you liked. Was there a spreadsheet? Did you include like the sizes you were smoking? Robusto, Lancero? How did you come up with your sizes?
So I started off smoking 6x60s. Good God. Yeah, he smoked 6x60. He handed me a cigar whenever. When he sat down here, smoke this. Okay, so smoked 6x60. I didn't really know that there was a whole lot of other sizes. So when I was smoking, I picked up a whole bit different sizes, but those were never really what I focused on and paid attention to. It wasn't until they all came into play, and I started with the trying to figure out my own line. What I like is I played with the different sizes, and I learned that I love Lanceros.
Yeah, you have me at Lancero.
Yeah, I love Lanceros. My favorite is Lanceros.
So did you know that you liked Lanceros before that, or is it when you were tooling around with your own blend is when you come to find out?
Tooling around.
Okay, yeah, because I can only imagine someone smoking nothing but 660s for a long time, and then you either get handed a short Panatella or a Lancero. You're like, what is this? I don't. Is it? Yeah. Is this? Yeah. I don't know what this is. Can you put like 3 of them together? I don't know.
Oh man, look at
Yeah,
that.
and then they're so I love them because I think that they're so sexy for ladies when they're smoking them. The Lanceros, so I love that.
So have you been branching out, trying more Lanceros from other manufacturers, or
So every time I go to a lounge, every time I always look to see if there's a cigar that I have not smoked. Even with my own line, I still love smoking other cigars. I love the experience of a brand new cigar, good, bad, or ugly to me. I want to try a cigar, a new one. So when I go to other lounges, I do try the Lanceros. I have tried tons and tons of Lanceros now. I search for those when I go to lounges.
It's a tough find. I mean, I've found that you'll have lounges that will have a couple, but there's hot spots of lounges like Ned Cigars that I go to up in Newtown, Pennsylvania. It's a big Lancero spot. He carries a lot of Lanceros because the clientele, they love him.
I learned from a seller standpoint that every city kind of has their own like little niche of sizes that they like. Texas love Lanceros out in Texas. I sell more Lanceros in Texas than I do any other states. Here in the DC area, they love 6x60s. So I sell 6x60s most of the time in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. So.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. Texas, you would think they're a 6 by, everything's bigger in Texas. It's but then they like the Lanceros. So, but what are the when you first started like really getting into cigars? Do you remember some of the menu, like when you went into the lounge for the first time, and you had the weekend off without the kids, and do you remember what you were smoking back then? Like brands, like who you were, or were you just like you were just smoking everything to get as much info as you can?
I was smoking everything, but I did pick up a few like go-tos while I was there. I love Oscar cigars. I love his cigars. Caldwell's, I do love most of his cigars. I like the boutique type cigars. I tend to go towards those. Maybe the bigger boutique. Hiram and Solomon love their cigars. One that is Roma Craft. Love Roma Craft cigars. So I tend to love those cigars. But and if I saw one and I haven't smoked one in a little while, I would gravitate towards them.
Now the one thing you can find every now and then, Tatuaje has a great Lancero sampler from their old Monster series.
Yeah, Skinny Monsters.
The Skinny Monsters, and a few of those are really good. But I'm surprised to hear you say Roma Craft. Roma Craft are ass kicker of cigars. Like Roma Craft, they don't play around with their tobacco over there.
Yeah, they don't. But I mean, it like I said, the full bodies weren't my everyday thing, but if I'm smoking at home and drinking some scotch or whiskey, I definitely want one that has a little bit more full bodiness to it.
Now, so when you're smoking through the day, if you're smoking 2 or 3, on your day off, say you smoke like 3 or 4, what's your cigar routine? Do you start off with like your sweet cigar, like the little sweet tip, lighter, or does it not, or just like any day? Because I know for me, there's certain days I want something light in the morning. But then there's certain days I want something full bodied, ass kicking in the morning. What's usually your cigar routine?
So the first thing I do in the morning is have coffee, and cannot function. Brain doesn't even click until I have that coffee, and I tend to go lighter in the morning because I work my way up to fuller body by the afternoon, where I'm more relaxed and more chill. Maybe have something while I'm typing and texting. Typing and texting. So I tend to go a little bit more mellow with full body in the evening time.
Now, are you a type of person? Do you like eating and smoking at the same time, or are you a big foodie in cigar? Because sometimes I think I'm the odd man out. I love eating and consuming food at the exact same time. I love pairing that. Are you the same way?
I'm the same way. I love food and cigars and my beverage, my libation.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that when it for me, it all goes together. So
Yeah. Now, you talking about your whiskey. Now, I'm a rum guy. He knows more about whiskeys, bourbons, and that's what he likes as well. What kind of whiskeys, bourbons, scotches? What are you liking?
oh wow, whiskeys, scotches. I love Coela. That is like my favorite. I look for that when I go out, but it's rare that I can find it. Glenlivet. I love Glenlivet. Glenfiddich has this spicy one, fire and something I tend to love. Loving Uncle Nearest lately.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Some monkey shoulders every once in a while. Let me think. Jane Walker. I am like hooked on some Jane Walker.
now is that affiliated with the Johnny Walker brand?
It is, and it's hard to find. So, but that Jane Walker is amazing.
Is that something new, Kara? Have you heard of that?
I've never heard of it, but when I was up in that area, I was introduced to the Bowman's brothers and Paul Bowman's whiskeys. It was out of Virginia, I believe. Yeah, that was really good. I'm not familiar with the Jane Walker at all.
Do you take a commercial break here? Do you ever do one?
We can if you need a commercial break.
Well, I was just going to go run and grab a Jane Walker for you so you can see what it looks like.
Yes, I would love that. So yeah, let's take a commercial break and hear from one of our sponsors.
All right.
Perfect timing.
All right. Jane Walker.
Look at that.
Wow.
Yeah, I keep this one with me. It's a brand new bottle.
Now, have you tried the other? Because as I used to be a bartender, so I know what the other Johnny Walkers taste like. So, are you familiar with the other Johnny Walkers?
I am. I'm not as in love with the other ones as I am with this one.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you. How would you rate this one, or is it? I don't know. Care what the proper terms is. Spicy bowl. I don't know what the terms would be.
It's a little. I would think to me it's spicy but smooth. I am walking to the Drunk Chicken, the She Shed. Let's see what's out here. See if
I'd be interested in trying that Jane Walker. I've never been a fan of the Johnny Walkers either, at all. But I would be interested in trying that Jane Walker.
All right, you hear lights? All right, we have the lights.
Wow, that is the setup right there.
Yeah, that's the She Shed with the fan. Do you see it?
Nice.
I was going to go behind the bar, but it looks like the spiders have taken over. It's been so hot. I haven't been out here in a while. So,
Yeah, it's been brutally hot
Mhm.
everywhere here on the East Coast.
yeah, so this is where I normally would hang out, and since it's getting cooler, I will be back there again. My daughter just graduated from high school, so you see the graduation stuff.
Ah,
Oh,
Yeah, and
congratulations.
then the heaters in here.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to coming back to the she shed. But yeah, the spiders, look like I
Mm.
have a couple of hornet to wasp nests back there too.
so that definitely looks like a fun place for a party. So is that where the name for the Drunk Chicken Cigars come from? That was known as the Drunk Chicken Lounge, I guess.
It was good. The she shed, and I can't see it right now, but back there's a sign that says the Drunk Chicken established, and it says "Living the Dream," where we have whiskey. What does it say? Where we have cigars, whiskey, and wine. So, but it was established way before we even thought about selling cigars. So when we first started, we were going to name the cigar company the Mad Dog or Crazy Dog. I forget which one. But we were investigating other rollers and going to other lounges. We were in New York at Martinez. And David there said, well, why are you called the Mad Dog? I was like, I don't know, just a name. We need a name. He says, well, what's the story behind it? I was like, there is no story. He said, that is not the name of your cigar company. And I said, why? He says, because you have to have a story behind it. It has to mean something to you. And I said, I don't know. And Rico and I looked at each other and said, the Drunk Chicken. And he said, I don't know what that means, but that's the name of your company because we both said it at the same time. So the Drunk Chicken is just like what everyone, they say, what you doing today? Oh, we're hanging out at the Drunk Chicken. Well, we cooking or everybody come on over, to the Drunk Chicken, and we're going to have some fun tonight. And so it was just a thing before the pandemic, and a joke was come on to the Drunk Chicken.
Now that has a story. That has a story people can get behind. Other people can tell the story, and that's what I love. People. I'll be smoking the Drunk Chicken. We're like, what is up with that cigar? Oh, let me tell you about the Drunk Chicken. It's someplace I want to go to and see Desiree's.
Exactly.
She shed. So that that I love it. It's a great story, and that's what we always want. We always want a good story.
Yeah. So I'm coming over onto this other patio over here. And let me see, I'm going to turn around this way. And can you see the fireplace?
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, so we hang out here at the Drunk Chicken. We have the fireplace going. The waterfall is over there. I don't know if you can see it. It's not going right now. Without the friends over, the pandemic, it's kind of gotten cobwebs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely been the downfall of not being able to get together, as much with friends and family and, hanging out. Now, do you live out in the middle of like the woods? I mean, because you got a fireplace, you got a waterfall, you've got chickens,
Not exactly when you hear DC, Kevin. You're not thinking of that, are you?
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah, we're almost 6 acres. So
oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty private back here. It's nice. My favorite place to be.
and then you'd mentioned prior to the show that you want to leave all that and move to Florida someday.
It's a lot. I have 2 girls, and one's graduated off on to college doing her own thing. 2 years. The other one will be off, to college. And this is just too much house, too much.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to downsize and travel more, and since manufacturing out there, maybe open up a lounge, do the manufacturing, and really just like slower, easier life.
Yeah, it's definitely nice. No tobacco tax. It's actually it's nice down here. We could always use another lounge. I think we got more lounges. I think Arizona might compete with Florida on the number of lounges, but we definitely got quite a few. So yeah. Are you ready for Florida heat though?
I was gonna say you're not gonna get that cold spell to kill the spiders.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I definitely want something slower. I could probably like be an adjunct, online adjunct, and do that the rest of my life.
So any thoughts of giving? I mean, would you love to give it all up just to focus on cigars?
Yeah, I would. I mean, the cigar is consuming a lot of my time, a lot of my life. It would be really good if I was able to have a lounge where I would be able to relax a little bit and sell cigars, do drunk chicken cigar type of stuff, warehouse it in one place, and it's a little fragmented, and I think it will all come together if I was able to slow down a little bit.
Yeah, that definitely be nice, and it's also nice, like Kara and I, we're both in the cigar industry. It's hard to leave that day job. It's hard to leave that health insurance, that 401k, that security of
that paycheck,
the paycheck, yeah, the paycheck each week. It's scary, but you hear so many of these manufacturers just doing it and giving it up just to live that dream, and it'd be nice.
Well, I could definitely live a different lifestyle here in DC area. It's a lot. Everything is large. Everything is expensive, and I don't have to have that.
Yeah.
So
I think also it comes to that point where that passion for the cigars takes over, because the passion for the 9 to 5 is still there. You love it, but eventually that flavor and passion for the cigars and the drunk chicken is gonna be like, okay, it's we got to have a talk here, because
eventually when you're like me, and then your boss comes over and be like, hey, I noticed like you're live on Instagram right now. You're on my clock. I'll be like, yeah, that or I got to yell in the shop, and I'm like, hey, everybody stop working. I need 30 seconds to make this TikTok real quick. And so everybody shuts down the facility while I can do a quick 30-second TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only have 5 or 6 more years to retire, so I'll start planning and see where I go from there.
Yeah, you're
awesome.
gonna retire with like 7 pensions from all of your various endeavors. God, I can only imagine how hectic your lifestyle is. NASA, everything else, and then trying to do the cigars. I know how it is for me, and I know Kara. Kara and I talk every day, just trying to juggle those two.
It's a lot.
So, herding cats.
Yeah,
I feel like you're herding cats all.
Yeah.
I constantly have 2 computers next to me when I'm doing my NASA stuff, and when I'm in a meeting. Okay, I heard my name.
Now you were able to get some time away, and you went out. I saw your you did a half wheel thing. You were at PCA. Was that your first PCA?
It was. Yep.
I haven't been yet. Kara, you haven't been yet.
No.
Have you?
No.
So what was it? Scary? Was it overwhelming? What was your? That's got for me. My heart is racing for you right now.
It was definitely overwhelming. I thought I was going to lose all my hair and be bankrupt at the same time, because I decided to do PCA in, I think, 6 weeks until it happened. So all the costs associated with this PCA all came within 6 weeks, hit me like a ton of bricks. But I had some great people that worked with me. And then all the ambassadors came out and they said, hey, we want to support. They came out on their own dime to do this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I was like, look, I can't pay you at this point.
Right.
I'm just being honest with you. I'm, right now, put everything I have to get to PCA. Make sure we have enough cigars. Make sure that we had something to present and that our booth looked presentable. And it was a journey, but I was able to, after PCA, reward, I guess, compensate is the proper word, all the ambassadors for their time and effort. And we did pick up 27, I kept saying 30, but 27 new lounges.
Get out. Wow.
Yeah, just that day. And afterward, we picked up quite a few more. So the money that came in for that, now I have to look at, I have a rhythm of how I buy stuff, how I buy cigars. And so I had to look at that and say, all right, I have a tremendous number of new cigar companies that I have to make sure I can fulfill in a timely manner. And I like to fulfill L orders within a week of your order. And so now I have to up that. So everything else went into making sure I had enough inventory.
You know, I just wanted to say this because I think it speaks to your character to have your ambassadors come out on their own dime to support you. That resonates that they believe in the product, they believe in the brand. It resonates that they believe in what they're doing and what they're presenting out there. But more importantly, it resonates to the type of to you, who you are, your character, and their belief in you. So congratulations for that. That's outstanding.
Thank you. Yeah, they are. I have an amazing four, the amazing four ambassadors. I just could not ask for a better group of guys and girl that I work with. And when now it's not just Rico and I, but when we start talking about new events, new ideals, new things, we talk as a group. They are the team. So, and wherever I go, they go. Meaning, as I grow, they grow with it. And if I'm ever able to have, which I'm hoping to, departments and grow to a point, I want them to lead those areas.
Yeah, and I'm sure with your background and your expertise, I mean, yeah, I could see you having departments. I could see, you know, like you're like the perfect person to run a company. You know, like a lot of people don't have experience, and you don't need experience in the cigar world. You just need experience in just business, which obviously, you know, you have. But yeah, I loved it that the ambassadors came out, because there's so many ambassadors and influencers. You know, it's like, oh, you're not paying me? No, I'm
right.
Out, you know, so I love it.
Yeah, I definitely, I told them, you know, this is where I am, and people have to be honest with where they are in life, and you know, and I was, you know, honest with them. This is what I can do. You're here to, you know, make some money, and it's not just me, because you know, I put everything I have into this, and so if you're along for the ride, let's do it together.
Mm-hmm.
And they also know I'm that person. If I could find an opportunity for them to make money or have an event or do something, I'm going to ask everybody, okay, here's an event coming up. Can anybody do it? Before I would take it. If there's no one else who can do it, then I'll take it. But they have the first opportunity first.
Now, where are your ambassadors? Are they located to like the DC metro area, or are they spread out throughout the country? Where are your ambassadors located?
I have one here in the DC area, Eric. And I have one in Texas, Armando is his name, but I call him Mando. And then I have one in New York area, Clee, and I have one in Georgia, Tanya. Oh my gosh, I just keep screwing that girl's name up.
How did you find the ambassador, or did they find you? How did you get partnered up with them?
So Eric was the first, and Eric will tell you, which is not a true statement, but this is his version of how it went. He said that he met me and at an event, and then the next time he met me, he said, "You need ambassadors. Let me be your ambassador." And I said, "Okay." And he says, I brushed him off, and then he said that the next time he called me, I brushed him off, and then he followed me to another lounge and said, "I need an ambassador." He brushed me off. I brushed him off, but I didn't know what that really meant.
I was going to ask you. I said, "Yeah, did you know what an ambassador, you know, a role was?"
No, and so like the 5th or 6th time that he shows up and emails me, I go, "Okay, Eric, I don't know how to pay you as an ambassador. I don't know what that means, but you are passionate about this. You love my cigar. So if you work with me, we'll shape whatever that is. And I don't care what everybody else is doing, but we'll shape what an ambassador is for Drunk Chicken Cigars together. And he allowed me, he was very patient. He allowed me the time to research it. We talked about it, what compensation would be, how often he would get compensated, what his role would be. And we drew up a contract together based on what we talked about. And that's how the first ambassador came about.
Okay. That's great.
And then we got, welcome Dan Thompson, king of ambassadors with McAuliffe Cigars. So welcome Dan.
Hey Dan.
And and then how did the other ones come about? Just gradually, or
Eric went to Texas. Eric travels a lot for his job, his 9 to 5, and he was in Texas at the Leaf Affair. And Mando works at the Leaf Affair, and Eric was telling him about being an ambassador, and Mando was like, I want to do this. And so Mando calls me up and says, I want to be your ambassador. And I said, okay. So I was telling Eric about, hey, this guy called me up and wanted to be an ambassador. He says, okay, well, let's do an interview. He's in Texas. Let's do this. So when he comes up on the screen, we did the Zoom. He comes up on the screen. He said, I know you. I met you at Leaf Affair. He says, yeah. So we did a small interview with him. And I told him, like I told Eric, look, we are growing together. I'm learning what an ambassador is, and we're shaping this role together. So Eric is the first, and we shaped it based on what Eric has done, but you bring something else to the table, and let's see, if there's anything new. And absolutely every single one of the ambassadors has brought their own uniqueness, own talent, and own personality to what an ambassador is for Drunk Chicken Cigars. And based on their strengths, I kind of let them do what they feel is that they are strong in, and how they deal with the role as ambassador.
Right.
Well, Care, you need to get with Desiree. Care needs some. I'm a horrible ambassador for Care. So Care needs better ambassadors.
That's why I don't pay him.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, he doesn't pay me. So yeah. Now you get what you pay for, Care.
I listen. My expectations are very low, Kevin, and you are constantly meeting expectations.
So right on. So all of your ambassadors now was that their first time at PCA also as well, or did they?
All of them. Everybody was all of our first time at PCA. We did not know what to expect. And we kind of had to have some of the furniture didn't even come, the tables didn't come that I ordered. And so I've sat there almost in tears the day before the show opened, and was like, this is what I have. So I'm running to Walmart back and forth trying to figure out something. The ambassadors brought their girlfriends and wives with them. So they were like, we're going to help too. So I had not only the ambassadors, but each one of them brought a significant other with them. So I had a huge team there, and we put that thing together. And my road dog, she was there, Lit Torch app, Susie, she came along too. And we put together, and somebody opened up the curtains while we were there, and it was like, oh, movie theater, that's what we're going to do. You don't have any tables in movie theaters. We don't need tables. And so we did it on the fly, and it worked out.
Yeah, now I admit, like, my first PC, and I don't want to say it out loud because I know some of my competition always watches this show because they'll get me. I'm just gonna have beanbag chairs for everybody. That's all I'm doing. Beanbag chairs. Everybody's no tables, it's gonna be really uncomfortable. Like nobody, because I don't want anybody at my booth. If I ever have a booth, because I want to spend time at other people's booths. So I want the word to get around. Hey, don't go over to Kevin's booth. All he has is beanbag chairs. So that's what I want. So Care may have.
I would love that.
Yeah,
beanbag chairs. I mean, that's it's very relaxed. Yeah. Getting out of the beanbag chairs would be difficult.
Yeah,
so people will stay longer.
I need 2 people to help pull me up.
Exactly.
Well, that's the key.
You get people to stay longer.
Yeah, once you get that potential client in a beanbag chair, you got him hooked. He ain't gonna get up.
Right. Exactly. Listen, you got to buy or you're not getting up.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Have you seen those ones that you kind of throw and you have put air in it and then you tie it up and then you just sit there on the ground?
No, I haven't.
This bag needed just a bunch of air.
Oh my god, I'm gonna have to look that one up. My daughter, she has it's called a love sack. It's like the world's largest beanbag. It's like 6 feet around. You sit in it and then it covers around you. I don't even know. It's really comfortable though. But so did you have any? Were there any fangirl moments? At PCA, who was like, who was like someone that came up or you were talking to? It's like, oh my god, I can't believe he or she is talking to me.
Not really. Not really. I did do a few interviews, and for me, it was like, how do you even know about me to want to interview me? So that was kind of my fangirl moment, just the various interviews that happened there.
Yeah, I get fangirl, and I say not fanboy. I get fangirlish all the time. Like right now, we got Dan Thompson here, and right now I'm getting ready to throw up because Dan Thompson is in our chat channel right now, and I won't even be able to sleep tonight. But what about did you get a chance? Did you get a chance to meet Matt Booth by chance?
Oh yeah, he's a great guy. Yeah. We took a picture together. He gave me some advice. He smoked my cigar with me. Matt Booth, that's Boothy, baby. He's a great guy.
Did he give you real advice? Like Matt Booth will talk to you and like he'll give you some, he'll tell you something like, was that like real advice or is he messing?
I think he gave me real advice. His advice was, I'll tell you what he said to me, was that he felt like his company was the best company when it was smaller. So don't rush to grow and make sure that the customers I have now, I give great customer service to. So hey, you can't go wrong with providing great customer service. It's important to do that. And then the customers I have now, if they continue to buy, then I'm gonna be good.
Yeah. Does that ever worry you about, because I know it does for me, and I don't know, Care, I'll ask you the same question because we've really never even talked about that before. Like it scares me to get bigger because you lose, you don't lose, but there's that potential that you could lose that really close relationship that you built. Is it a little scary thinking about getting bigger?
Yeah, because like you said, close relationships. I personally called the first 80 lounges, restaurant. I personally picked up the phone and, hey, this is Desiree, and I explained to them about the company. I explained to them about the cigars. I have a relationship with those 80, the first 80. After that, it's kind of a blur, and I kind of feel like I'm missing out on that and want to go back to personally calling them up. But I'm like, I don't have time for this, but that's what I want, to have that relationship with every single one of my customers.
Yeah, and I know Care is the same way. Care knows all of his lounges. Care, does it ever gets a little scary thinking about that? Getting bigger.
I think the concern is the journey from going from smaller to getting bigger, because during that journey is really where you're taking on more responsibility, and some of those personal one-on-one relationships can slip through the cracks because you're doing one too many things. So like Desiree, starting to surround herself with a really great team, which allows her to continue that great relationship. And I think that's the key to it, building a smart business. Like Matt said, his advice is great, and what you're doing is dead spot on, Desiree, is surrounding yourself with good people who are passionate and motivated, who want to be there. Like you said, Eric chased you down 5-6 times. That is the best interview someone can give, is if they're that passionate that they're chasing you down like that. There's a couple of folks that I know that they start getting bigger and they don't want to interact with the lounge, and I'm thinking the lounge always likes the owners, the people. They always like being able to connect with the brand owner. They love the fact that they can pick up the phone and call you, and that you can have that one-on-one relationship. So that is something that I would never want to lose. And to grow is to grow smart by surrounding yourself with good people.
Yeah. And even when the large numbers came at PCA, one of the things that I absolutely tried to do, I wasn't successful every time because there was times that there was a lot of people that we were talking to, but I tried to, when they were talking, the ambassadors were talking to potential lounge owners or customers, new customers, I went over and introduced myself and made sure that they had my card and my information as well. So if you feel like you're not getting what you need, give me a call because I'll make sure that you get what you need. So I try to make sure that I introduce myself every single time.
And then what about Omar DeFrias? Omar says he talked to you at the PCA.
Yes, I did run into Omar. Omar and I have a small connection. I never met him before, and that's why I don't really talk about NASA, because we actually worked in the same building and worked in Washington, D.C. for NASA. And when I told a couple of my friends, hey, I'm gonna do the cigar, they were like, oh, like Omar. I was like, well, who is Omar? And so I had to look Omar up, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, he worked in the same building. But when I was coming to NASA, he was leaving NASA, so I'm not even sure we were there at the same time. But yeah, and we were in the same building. So.
Oh wow! So when you got to talk to him, was it more cigars, or was it more NASA talk, or was it kind of a mixture?
A little mixture, because he didn't know. You're one of the first few people I rarely ever talk about NASA, because I don't want it to be, oh, I'm riding anybody else's what they're doing or following behind somebody, because I did not know, and I don't want to take anything away from what Omar is doing. Because I think he has great cigars and he has a great concept as well. Just want to, make sure that I distinguish myself as different than what he's doing. But he when I approached him and I said, hey, Omar, and I was talking to him about, NASA and how I worked there, and he didn't know. So we talked a little bit about that, and we talked a little bit about cigars. So it was great meeting him, and he was everybody was very friendly.
What was his,
Desiree,
was his height? Was his height intimidating?
You would have noticed him. You'd have noticed him in the building.
Yes, he's huge.
So Desiree, I can understand you not wanting to give the impression that NASA is a stepping stone into a cigar brand owner. Everybody's going to be applying to NASA in order to get into the cigar industry. Listen, I'm going to be a rocket scientist. Then one day I'm going to have my own brand. We don't want to give that type of that illusion up there.
Yeah, it's as soon as you start saying, oh yeah, I work for NASA, left like Omar, are you and Omar work together, and stuff like that. And so I said, you know what, I'm not going to talk about it.
And that's just kind of big.
This is just the background.
Right.
So when I go over, because NASA here in Florida, can I drop your name? Like, is that going to get me anything? Like, anywhere will that give me like a behind the scenes tour of anything?
Well,
oh, look at that! Omar said no. At least from a Desiree, I got
well. Are you actually close to NASA in Florida?
Yeah, a couple hours, 3 hours away.
All right, so I actually am starting a new job in NASA where I will no longer be a procurement analyst, but I will be over all the exchanges in NASA. And the exchanges are basically where you will buy all of your tchotchkes and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, NASA gear and stuff, souvenirs. I'll be over all those. And so if you go, when I come out there to do the exchange, I'll meet you out there and give you and see if I can get you a tour.
Oh, That would be awesome. I would just love to tell Omar.
You gotta wait
stick
for
it. You know, yeah.
That's the way to get there, though, Kevin. She doesn't want to get a phone call on the red phone and say, "There's some crazy guy with a beard
Yeah, you have to wait
at the
till I
guard
get there.
tower. Dropping your name."
I want to tour myself because I haven't had one yet either.
Yeah.
So it'll be a joint tour. I'll let you like go with me on my tour.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I'll be like, there's some guy here asking for an employee discount.
No, I don't even get
He wants to
that.
go to space camp. We have no idea what we're talking about.
No, I don't even get any employee discounts or anything like that. So
I think you need to give her full disclosure about you touching things that you shouldn't touch.
I touch things I shouldn't.
Good point,
touch.
Jess.
So
Good point, Jess.
yeah, so what she means by that, years ago I was at the brewery in Tampa, Yingling. So it was for a cigar event. So it was a very small group of us, maybe like a dozen people taking this tour. So they bring us into this one room, and then like it's like this switch panel on the wall, like hundreds and thousands of buttons, gauges, whatever. Right in the middle of this panel is like this red button said "Do not touch." It was too much for me. It was so I'm probably in there for like 15 minutes. We're waiting on our tour guide, and so finally I'm standing there. I just reached up and touched and pressed it like the button, and I don't even know why. It was just too much for me. And then that's when the tour guide comes in. The very second I pressed that button, and then she caught me, and then someone asked, "Hey, what does that button do?" And then she goes, "Nothing. We put that button there because that's the one that people will touch, and it literally does nothing. But if they touch that, that means they're not touching the important buttons." So yeah. I just
flagged.
it was too
They're
much.
smart.
I'm just like, what the heck? Pressed it. I figured it'd have a lock on it if it did something really important, shut the whole place down. So
yeah, okay. So thank you, Jess, for that. And you
Sounds
may
like
not
Jess.
be
Sounds
getting
like
the
Jess
tour
is getting
because
that tour.
if they
Yeah.
say do not touch there, they mean it.
Yeah.
I think I was in Houston, and they had this huge pool where they do all of the training of the astronauts in this huge pool. And I just kept on going, I want to jump in. I just feel like I should jump in. And the guy said, if you jump in, this will be your last day at NASA. I was like, it's calling my name.
Like you're weighing the odds. I'm like, do I
Yes.
really want to work at NASA, or do I want to be known as the person that jumped in the pool? Which one is more prestigious? I don't.
And he said there's people that have jumped in the pool. So
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Conversation is leading more towards a Jess tour.
Yeah. Jessica, yeah, she's my chaperone. You know, hands in your pockets at all times.
Yes, Jess, we need you.
Yes.
So
More than you know.
that's it. So your colleagues, do they kind of know you're into the cigar industry, or do you really do keep that kind of separate?
Totally separate. As a matter of fact, if I find that a colleague or somebody that I know is on Instagram or Facebook, I block them.
Okay.
Yeah, so I totally keep it totally separate. It's not a secret. I do know that a couple people do know, but at the same time, it is a separate life, separate thing. Whenever I am doing anything Drunk Chicken Cigars, it's either after hours or I'm taking leave because I do not want to accidentally mix the two. And they say, "Wait a minute, you're on my time here."
Yeah.
Amen.
So when you're taking leave and doing other things with Drunk Chicken, are you doing a lot of I guess before COVID, were you doing a lot of events, and then obviously COVID shut everything down? Or do you have plans on doing more events?
Yeah, I have plans on. Well, okay, so we're coming up to the end of the year. I need to get my house in order because I've been like just rolling, and then I'm looking back and going, "Oh, I have so much paperwork I need to do." The end of the year is coming, tax season's coming, holiday season. So I'm really going to. September is every weekend. There's something going on. October, I may have one thing, but after that, I'm really going to take it slow, start looking at my calendar for next year, start planning events for next year. And yeah, so not too much more this year.
Yeah, tax season. I just finished paying off my tax bill from last year. And taxes. That's what Pear knows. Cuts the joys of company ownership.
There is no joy.
Now we have taxes.
Yeah, I had to hire a bookkeeper because it started to get really muddy for me, and I just I need to get things in order. So I'm really going to be focused on that in the last few months of the year, the last months.
Now, how hard was it learning? How do we follow Desiree on Facebook and Instagram? Desiree's all of the links for Desiree, Facebook, Instagram, her website, everything is in the show notes down below. Clickable links, they'll take you to everywhere where you can find Drunk Chicken Cigars. So,
and I'm easy on everything. I am drunkchickencigars.com, Instagram, Facebook. I'm Drunk Chicken Cigars.
You did what I the first thing when people approach me, they want to start a business, I go, make sure you can secure that name on all the medias, because nothing's worse than it's Drunk Chicken on this, and then it's this on this platform and this on this platform, because they couldn't secure the name. So nobody has to worry about remembering everything. I put all the links in the description below, so you can click on those. So how you're welcome. How hard was it learning? Was there a steep learning curve on because I really don't know, because I don't sell cigars, but I know Care does, you does, of learning all the regulations on the various states, what states you can ship to. Some people don't ship to Utah, Ohio, other states, because it's a nightmare.
I'm learning as I go. Like California, I learned a lot about California at PCA, and I'm really right now still going through the learning process of distributors and the cigar tax and everything. So every state seems to be quite unique. It's a learning process as I go. The East Coast has been easier, and so now I'm looking at the West Coast. Each individual state I'm going to, and I'm looking at the rules and regulations, and not just the rules and regulations. Some of it, the rules are have some quirks in it. You can only the lounges can only purchase from distributors because the distributors pay the taxes, and so now I have to figure out, well, who are your distributors? Who do you buy from? And then calling them up and seeing how they work, because everybody wants a piece of the pie.
I think Ohio's like that. Ohio did the cigar lounges can't buy directly from you. They can only buy from a distributor. So you have to sell to a distributor.
Oh, I didn't know. I knew it was that way overseas. I didn't know that it was that way here. That
some states.
So some states. So how do you find a distributor then?
Call the lounge, ask them, who do you buy from?
Okay.
Yeah.
You find out. Yeah. Some states you have to be licensed in. You have to have a tobacco license in some states. So you may be licensed in your state, but you have to have a license in Wisconsin or Minnesota, and you have to have a license there as well.
Yep. Several tobacco licenses these days.
Wow, I did not know you had to have multiple.
The tax part of it's a pain in the butt too, because I think there's some states you have to submit a spreadsheet with all this product you sold and the taxes, and I know some states you pay the taxes. I think New York, you have to collect the taxes from the lounge and pay the state, if I'm not mistaken. You have folks up there, you probably would know better.
Yeah, every state is a little different. Yeah. Maryland, I have to submit a spreadsheet of all the lounges that I expect to sell to. One of the reasons I became an LLC in DC instead of Maryland, because Maryland made it way too hard to become LLC. But DC was like, okay, here, come on, have fun with me.
Jess, you had a question?
Well, that was kind of my question was, does that determine kind of where you want to work, like what state you kind of want to deal with your cigars?
Oh, okay.
So that kind of makes sense. Like if something is kind of a hassle, maybe you try to find a workaround so you don't have to deal with that hassle.
Yeah. So yeah, somewhat yes. Why I LLC'd in Maryland instead of DC was because it was just too much to become a Maryland LLC for tobacco. Get a tobacco license. But now that I'm here, I have to go ahead and get one for just about every state that I ship to now. So
Wow.
Wow, you would think they'd have created a federal tobacco license, so yeah, well, man, yeah, Dan definitely knows that. But yeah, you would think that would be a federal tobacco license. You just get one license and you're able to sell to all the states. I don't know, that's strange.
Say it again so they can hear you.
Yeah,
Well, then they'll creep in. Then they'll creep in, Kevin, and really want to federally, like what's going on right now. They want to regulate everything. Then, so it's a slippery slope, right? I mean, it doesn't matter if you go state or federal. It's always going to be a slippery slope on which devil do you want to dance with. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I guess so. So yeah, what an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, and I think in DC they don't have taxes either. Where for tobacco taxes, if I'm not mistaken. I mean,
oh really?
Yeah, it's really crazy going from hopping from state to state. Yeah,
it is DC.
Yep.
So is that something that your accountant has had to figure out as well, or did you find an accountant that was knowledgeable in the cigar industry?
So I have my accountant is like dealing with the books. My tax person is the one that has to deal with all that. So yes, he is investigating that and calling me up, telling me how much of a nightmare that I'm in.
Oh really? Yeah.
Yeah. So
like what did you get me into?
But he always says, I've never had anybody go to jail yet. That's
what my accountant tells me. He goes, I've never had anybody go to jail yet, and he goes, but you're gonna, especially here in Florida, he goes, you're gonna get audited. He goes, my job is to prolong that for as long as possible. And he goes, luckily for you, you keep meticulous books, but he goes, eventually they're gonna come after you. Because there's nothing you can do. He goes, we'll guide you through it. So Florida is known for, we're an auditing state, so we like to audit people, I guess.
Well,
that's the other side of the fun of growth, Kevin, is getting deeper into those different state laws and taxes. It's great when people say that hey, I'd really like to have your stuff, and you're like, oh boy, I got 5 hoops I got to jump through.
Yeah, that's kind of where I am with California right now. I have a few that I love to have it. Okay, well, I'm still investigating how to get it to you.
Yeah. Because you definitely want to do it the right way. Because I know there are a lot of people that just sell online and knock on wood that they're hoping that they don't get busted, and it's just like, is it worth it? Is it worth it just to make a little bit of money? To have that state come after you, or have the federal government come after you? For me, it's definitely not. I'd rather just not sell to a whole state. Like figure it out. Yeah, get a buddy to buy them from another state and then send them to you.
Can you pick them up in Arizona?
Yeah.
Cross that state line.
Can you pick them up in Arizona?
Another thing that
that was a joke. That was a joke.
That was Karen said it, not me. Not me. So
I've actually had a lounge in another state I won't mention, but they've said, hey, can you just sell me this and not report it? I'm like, no, I'm not gonna get in trouble over 3 boxes.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense to do that. I'd rather just say, no, I won't sell to you, instead of doing something that's just not going to be on the up and up.
Exactly. And closing out, the one question that I wanted to know was, what's been harder, or maybe they're the same, of being, because being a female in the cigar industry as a brand owner is rare. There's not a lot of female cigar brand owners, and it's even rarer to be a female of color as a brand owner. What is it harder being a female of color versus just being a female, or is it just do people take, and I don't want to say it the wrong, do the people take you seriously?
At first, no. At first it was Hey, who do you work for? I'm the owner. No, seriously, who do you rep for? So, but it's, as the name has become a little bit more brand awareness in the name, that, I have not found that it's any different, but it's like you said, it's rare to be a brand owner female of color. So I don't know what I don't know. I don't know if they're not taking me serious, and maybe because I'm just not interacting with them in that manner. But and if they aren't, then they're lost.
Yep.
So you've never had
You
to
got
have
that right.
So you've never had to have Rico step in and then use his manness to
Wow.
I don't like
You are horribly navigating through this question, Kevin.
No, I mean it's a valid question though. It's a valid
It is.
question. And I understand the question because like even when I was with the Coast Guard, I used to deal with a whole lot of people, and I've had to have employees step in to be the name or act like they were in charge just to get some deals done. And to be even here, I've had to have Eric step in. Rico is a very behind the scenes guy. You never see him, and if you do, it's always his elbow in something.
that's what I was gonna say. I go, I don't, I'm like, I was wondering, like, is Rico like real? Like you say like Rico's a person. It's like, because the name almost, I don't say the name almost sounds made up. Like that's not even his real name. It's Henry, but we call him Rico, and he's not real anyway. So
no, that's his real name, and he's a real person, but he is totally behind the scenes. He doesn't like to be on camera. He doesn't even have a social media page, so he doesn't like his picture taken. But he's a real person. But Eric has stepped in a few times to have conversations, and when I feel like, you know what, I think a male presence in the conversation would be better. I would get one of the guys, hey, do me a favor and backtrack and call this lounge and introduce yourself and see if that would be helpful. Yeah, there's times I do get a sense that a male figure would be better than myself when having a conversation. And maybe it's just a conversation. Some people are more comfortable talking with males instead of a female. Maybe I'm making them uchi.
so Jess,
I mean, that was kind of like, though, as a female too, like, I'm a store manager. I oversee about 40 employees. And every once in a while, I get a customer that comes in and will go to my assistant because he's a male and not want to speak to me. And I just don't have that, though. I'm like, no, if you want to have a conversation, it has to be with me. I'm the one in charge. And do you ever feel like you just want to lash out and be like, how dare you? I don't even want to do business with you. Like, get out of here.
Absolutely, I do. But I also know that I'm not going to get it accomplished by lashing out. So I try to, what's the saying? I try to meet people where they are in life.
Okay, that's definitely good. I like that.
So Jessica is from New Jersey, so lashing out, that's her first step. So then she tries to dial it back when the lashing out gets out of hand. So
trust me, if we weren't talking about cigars and cigar lounges and we're talking about going to the store, Rico has pulled me out of a lot of stores talking about, all right, it's time to go, honey. It's this conversation is not going well. But I learned from those experiences what not to do in the company.
That's good advice.
Oh, definitely good advice. And to kind of wrap things up, 1 year from now and 3 years from now, where do you want to see yourself in the company?
1 year from now, I would like that the customers that I have understand that they're a priority for me, and the customers that come on board, that they will be a priority as well. I want to make sure that I maintain quality, and if it comes to the point where quality is going to suffer, then we're going to have a pause for the cause on growth, because quality is very, very important. So Quality and customer service are our number one factors for 1 year and 3 years. 3 years from now, I would like the company to be more put together. When I say that, more of a structure where we have a couple departments and maybe even a customer service rep that is you can dial on the phone and you can get somebody, and we will be in one facility where everything is done. And that's my 3 to 5 year goal.
Now, I love that you said that if quality becomes an issue, that you'll put a pause. Because Care just went through that. Care put a pause. How long were you on pause, Care?
7 months.
7 months.
Actually, 8 months when we left when I left my factory and located and found a new factory and worked through the blends and properly went through exactly what tobacco was going to be utilized and went through the sampling and until we got the finished product. Because no matter how great your blend is, it's not going to be realized and appreciated unless you have good construction. And that was really where a number of issues, but that was a big issue that just was not acceptable.
Right.
Yeah. There are so many brand owners, and that's where that's their downfall, is they don't realize that there is quality issues, construction issues, and they try and work through it at the factories, that they're at. And then it just gets to the point to where nobody's buying the cigars anymore, and they end up having to shut down. And once you shut down, it's hard to bring those old customers back. So I love that you're willing to put a pause on things. Let's just stop what we're doing. Let's just refocus on who we are.
Yeah,
and I love that, because I know so many people, even if they see a consistency in the inconsistency with the construction, their mentality is, well, I'm just going to sell through it. I'm just going to sell through it. And at some point in time, like Kevin said, your brand name is going to be associated with things that you don't want it to be associated with.
Yeah, I mean, I have growing pains. I've learned as we start as we start manufacturing more, I did see inconsistency, but I have a great relationship with the manufacturer. I pick up the phone, I talk to them almost weekly, and talking to them, okay, this is what I've noticed. I pick up, I pull sticks out every pack, not every pack, but every package that's delivered to me, and I do sample out of them, making sure that I'm going to get the same smoke that I got the last time, and I want to make sure, is there a draw issue? And I call my stores and I ask them, have you had any issues? Have you, is it a draw issue? Is it a construction issue? Have you had any issues? And I beat the hell out of the cigars that I smoke, because I keep them in my purse. I want to see, like, what will it take to will it last in my purse? Will it, how will it smoke if it sits out for a little while? So I do a whole lot of testing of the cigars, and maybe not needed, but at the same time, it's important to me to know when somebody's calling me up and telling me that something's going on, that I nip it in the bud and that I can see it for myself too, so that I understand it when I see it.
Good for you.
Yeah, there are quite a few brand owners that I've personally asked that question to, and none of them do that. None of them, take out cigars. I asked them, I go, hey, when you get shipments in, are you pulling out random cigars? And 99.9% of the time, it's like, no, we're just, we trust that we're getting the same cigar every time. And then I've never heard anybody calling the store like, hey, are you having any issues that I should be aware of? Because some people won't say anything to you. The stores just stop buying.
No, I asked the question. I have had stores tell me, hey, I've had some draw issues on 2 or 3 of them. Okay, well, I will send you 2 or 3. If they tell me. I had one store that tell me, 5 of them came and they were a little broke up. Really? That's unusual. Did you take a picture? I always ask, because if I'm in a store and you tell me that 5 or 6 cigars are broke up, which is very, very unusual, take a picture, show me what you're talking about, and I will replace it 100% of the time. And then I've even this is 100% hand rolled. You never know what somebody's going through that day. And mistakes
Yep.
happen, things happen. So I want to know so that I can make it right for my customers. They're important.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Calling
it.
oh, go ahead, Cole, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. No.
I was gonna say calling the stores. I've done the same thing, and I think that's a tough thing, right? Because you always want good news, and you're not always gonna get good news, but you got to handle it. And if you're on top of it, and they know you're on top of it, that sends a very strong message to the shop that that you not only care about them. You're just not more worried about just the sale. That you want to make sure they're getting good quality products.
Yeah.
So that's I say that's brave because it is, because it's you dial that number, you're like, please say it was good, please say it was good, please say it was good.
Well, I want to know good bad, because if I don't know, then I can't fix it.
Exactly.
I've learned that we can't roll Lanceros. I can't roll Mexican San Andreas Lanceros the same day as we do the Habano Lanceros. I've learned that because when we switched from one to the other, we were rolling the same way. The guys were rolling the same way, and what ended up happening is the Mexican San Andreas dries tighter, so we had tight Lanceros that were hard to smoke. So, but if I didn't ask, I would never have known that.
Right. Yep.
I love that. I absolutely love that you figured that out. Like what you can roll, what you can't roll, and I'll be honest, your heads and tails above a lot of brand owners in this industry that I talk to. I love it. I love that you're and that could be the NASA in you, the analytical part in you, the professor part in you of always asking questions, and so I just want to let you know, whether it means anything or not, you're ahead of the curve.
Definitely.
In this industry.
I think it's the nerd in me. I liked it. I love learning new things. I mean, and when I find something new, I like hold on to it and want to learn everything about it. So
that is good. So Desiree, we definitely want to thank you for coming on and spending an hour and 40 minutes of your Monday night with us. It's been a blast. It really has been my pleasure.
Thank you. I've enjoyed myself as well. So we talked about stuff we're not supposed to talk about here.
Yeah. That's what we do here. Like I said, we always get people to talk about something that they're not supposed to talk about, or we bring up something that out of the blue. So, Kara, do you have any parting words for our guest tonight?
No, just thank you. I mean, what a great interview. And thank you for being so candid and direct. And I'll be reaching out to you. Yeah. You can swap off some cigars, and I'm looking forward to trying your cigars. And just thank you for being on the show tonight and spending the time with us. And like Kevin said, I mean, you're definitely head and tails. You have the right mindset and the right structure in place to grow accordingly. And hats off to you and all the folks who are on your team.
Yeah,
and Rico,
and Dan,
Rico. Forget Rico.
Yeah, Dan, the rugged purse test. I think that might be a new test, and
Kevin's getting
the draw
Kevin's getting a purse now. Kevin's going to get a purse now. He's going to get a purse.
Yeah.
That rugged purse test tells you a lot. So when somebody tells you that your cigars can't beat up,
Kevin, we'll have long
for 10 days. It's not beat up.
Yeah, exactly. So Desiree, thank you very much, and I hope you have a good rest of your Monday night.
Thank you. You do the same, and thank you for having me. I've had a blast.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Take care, Desiree. God bless.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.